How to make your own beeswax wraps. Did you know that the average household uses over 1,000 feet of plastic wrap every year? Imagine how much waste that adds up to. But what if I told you there's a simple, beautiful, and reusable alternative you can make at home? Today, I'm challenging myself to make DIY beeswax wraps from scratch. Will it be a Pinterest perfect success or a total disaster? Stay tuned to find out. Why I switched to reusable wraps. I used to go through rolls and rolls of plastic wrap without even thinking twice. It was just part of my kitchen routine. But one day, I saw a heartbreaking video of marine life struggling with plastic pollution, a sea turtle tangled in plastic, fish consuming microplastics, and it hit me. Did you know over 380 million tons of plastic are produced each year and only 9% gets recycled? The rest ends up in landfills, oceans, and even our food chain. Plastic wrap, in particular, is non-recyclable and contributes heavily to waste. I knew I had to find a better way to store food without harming the environment. That's when I discovered beeswax wraps. What are beeswax wraps and why use them? Beeswax wraps are a reusable, sustainable alternative to plastic wrap. They're made from cotton fabric coated with beeswax, jojoba oil, and tree resin. Keeps food fresh without plastic. Reusable and long-lasting, they last up to a year. Customizable, choose your own fabric and sizes. Saves money, no more constantly buying plastic wrap. What to expect in this video? By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to make your own beautiful, custom beeswax wraps at home. Here's what we'll cover: what materials you need and where to get them, a step-by-step tutorial on making your own wraps, pro tips for making them last longer, a real-life test to see how they compare to plastic wrap. So, grab your supplies and let's get started on this eco-friendly, money-saving journey. Part 1. The problem with plastic wrap. 1. The hidden cost of plastic wrap. Plastic wrap seems so convenient, but have you ever stopped to think about where it ends up? Most of us use it daily without realizing how much waste we're creating. It might seem like just a thin sheet of plastic, but it has a huge environmental impact. Let's break it down. Plastic wrap is made from polyvinyl chloride (PVC) or low-density polyethylene (LP), both of which do not biodegrade. Once discarded, these plastics can take hundreds of years to break down, releasing toxic microplastics into the environment. Unlike paper or glass, plastic wrap is not recyclable in most places. Even when it is, the process is complicated and inefficient. Every time we toss a piece of plastic wrap into the trash, it's essentially here to stay, sitting in landfills, floating in oceans, or harming wildlife for centuries. 2. The alarming statistics on plastic waste. Let's look at some numbers that might shock you. Americans alone use over 100 billion plastic bags and wraps every year. It is estimated that over 8 million tons of plastic waste enter our oceans annually. According to studies, by 2050, there will be more plastic in the ocean than fish by weight. More than 1 million marine animals die each year due to plastic pollution. Seabirds, turtles, dolphins, and even whales are found with plastic in their stomachs. If that isn't concerning enough, plastic doesn't just hurt wildlife, it contaminates our food and water. Microplastics have been found in bottled water, seafood, and even human blood. The very thing we use to protect our food may actually be poisoning us. Comparing disposable plastic wrap to reusable alternatives. So, what's the solution? We can't keep using plastic wrap forever. It's damaging our environment and filling our landfills. But thankfully, there are eco-friendly alternatives, and one of the best options is beeswax wraps. Let's compare plastic wrap vs beeswax wrap side by side. Plastic wrap. Beeswax wrap, single use, thrown away after one use, reusable for up to a year. Contributes to plastic pollution, biodegradable and compostable, non-recyclable, and adds to landfill waste. Sustainable and made from natural ingredients. Contains chemicals that may leach into food. 100% natural and food safe. Costs money to replace frequently. Saves money in the long run. The bottom line? Beeswax wraps are an easy, effective swap that helps reduce waste, saves you money, and keeps harmful plastics out of our oceans. It's a win for your wallet and the planet. Now, let's dive into how you can make your own reusable wraps at home. Switching to beeswax wraps isn't just better for the environment, it's also better for our health and wallets. 4. My personal wake-up call. I'll be honest, I used to go through rolls and rolls of plastic wrap without even thinking twice. I never stopped to question what happened to all that plastic after I tossed it away. It was just convenient. But then, one day, I stumbled across a video showing sea turtles struggling to swim through plastic waste, mistaking it for food. It hit me hard. I realized that something as simple as my kitchen habits was contributing to a much bigger problem. I knew I had to make a change. I started researching sustainable alternatives and came across beeswax wraps. They seemed like the perfect solution, natural, reusable, and beautiful. At first, I wasn't sure if they'd actually work, but after making my own, I've never looked back. And that's why I'm so excited to share this with you today. Let's move on to the fun part, making your own beeswax wraps at home. Part 2. What you'll need now that we understand why plastic wrap is such a problem. Let's get into the exciting part, making our own reusable beeswax wraps. Before we start, let's go over everything you'll need. I'll also explain why each ingredient is important so you can make the best wraps possible. 1. Cotton fabric, the best base material, why natural fibers work best. Cotton is breathable yet sturdy, making it perfect for wrapping food. It holds the beeswax mixture well, giving the wrap its flexibility. Synthetic fabrics don't absorb wax properly and may contain harmful chemicals, so avoid polyester or blends. Best choices. 100% organic cotton, better for the environment, free of pesticides. Old t-shirts, pillowcases, or fabric scraps, upcycling is a great way to reduce waste. Quilting cotton or muslin, lightweight but durable. What not to use. Silky or glossy fabrics, wax won't stick. Thick fabrics too stiff. Stretchy materials like jersey or spandex won't hold shape. Pro tip, pick fun, colorful patterns. Your wraps will look amazing in your kitchen, and they make great gifts. 2. Beeswax pellets or a beeswax block. The key ingredient, why beeswax? Beeswax is naturally antibacterial, which helps keep food fresh. It creates a waterproof, breathable barrier over fabric. It gives the wraps that slight stickiness needed to cling to bowls and food. Best choices: organic, food-grade beeswax available in pellets or bars. Locally sourced beeswax support beekeepers and sustainable farming. Yellow beeswax is the most natural. White beeswax is often bleached. Pro tip: if using a beeswax block, graded for easy melting, pellets melt faster. What not to use? Paraffin wax derived from petroleum, not eco-friendly. Low-quality beeswax may contain additives. 3. Jojoba oil, optional but recommended. Why use jojoba oil? Adds flexibility, preventing the wrap from becoming too stiff or cracking over time. Helps the wrap mold better around food. Has natural antifungal properties to keep wraps fresher for longer. Best choices: organic, cold-pressed jojoba oil found at health stores or online. Can substitute with coconut oil, but it might leave a mild scent. Pro tip: only use a few drops. Too much oil can make wraps greasy. What not to use? Heavy oils like olive or vegetable oil can go rancid. 4. Tree resin, optional but improves stickiness. Why add tree resin? Makes wraps more clingy, similar to plastic wrap. Helps beeswax adhere better to bowls and containers. Gives wraps a slightly tacky texture so they hold their shape better. Best choices: pine resin or dammer resin, food safe and natural. Can be purchased online or at eco-friendly stores. Pro tip: melt resin slowly to avoid burning. Mix it well with beeswax for even distribution. What not to use? Any resin that is not food safe. 5. Parchment paper and an iron or oven. How to apply heat evenly, why heat matters. Beeswax needs even melting to properly soak into the fabric. Using an iron or an oven helps distribute the wax smoothly. Best choices: parchment paper protects your iron and baking tray from wax buildup. An iron, good for small batches. An oven, best for making multiple wraps at once. Pro tip: line your workspace with parchment paper to avoid messy cleanup. What not to use? Wax paper, it will melt and stick. Aluminum foil doesn't absorb excess wax. 6. Choosing sustainable, organic materials when making eco-friendly products. It's important to use natural and non-toxic materials. Look for organic cotton fabric, reduces pesticides. Food-grade beeswax, safe for food contact. Non-toxic jojoba oil and resin, sustainably harvested ingredients, support ethical sourcing. Pro tip: if possible, buy in bulk to reduce packaging waste and save money. 7. Where to buy affordable supplies. Here are some great places to find quality materials at a budget-friendly price. Local options: farmers markets for beeswax, fabric or craft stores for cotton fabric. Health food stores for jojoba oil, online stores, Amazon, Etsy, or eBay for beeswax pellets and resin, zero waste or eco-friendly shops, bulk sellers cheaper for large quantities. Pro tip, check out DIY kits. They often come with pre-measured materials. Final thoughts before we start. Now that you have everything ready, we can start making our beeswax wraps. In the next section, I'll walk you through the step-by-step process of creating your very own wraps. It's easier than you think. Part 3, Step-by-Step Beeswax Wrap Making Process. Now that we have all our materials ready, it's time to make our own beeswax wraps. I'll guide you through each step, share pro tips, and help you avoid common mistakes. 1. Prepping the fabric. Step 1. Cutting the fabric. First, decide what sizes you need. Here are some common dimensions. Small 7x 7 inches perfect for covering jars or half-cut lemons. Medium 10x 10 inches great for wrapping sandwiches or cheese. Large 14x 14 inches or bigger best for covering salad bowls or bread. Use pinking shears zigzag scissors to cut the fabric. This helps prevent fraying and gives your wraps a nice finish. Step 2. Choosing fun, vibrant patterns. Pick bright, colorful prints to make your wraps look amazing in the kitchen. Light-colored fabrics hide wax stains better than dark ones. If you're making wraps as gifts, consider seasonal or themed fabrics. Step 3. Finishing the edges. If you don't have pinking shears, you can fold and hem the edges with a quick stitch. Another option is to use fabric glue or a fray-preventing solution to seal the edges. Pro tip, pre-wash and dry your fabric before starting. This removes any chemicals or residue that might prevent the wax from absorbing properly. 2. Melting the beeswax. To methods, oven method vs. ironing method. There are two popular ways to melt and apply the beeswax. Oven method best for larger batches. Preheat your oven to 200 F93C. Low heat is key. Line a baking sheet with parchment paper, place your fabric on top, then sprinkle beeswax pellets evenly over it. Optional, add a few drops of jojoba oil and tree resin for extra flexibility and stickiness. Place the tray in the oven for about 3-5 minutes or until the wax is fully melted. Ironing method best for small batches. Place a piece of parchment paper on an ironing board. Lay your fabric on top, then evenly sprinkle beeswax. Cover with another sheet of parchment paper to protect your iron. Use a medium heat iron to press gently, melting the wax into the fabric. Keep moving the iron in circular motions until the wax is fully absorbed. Common mistakes to avoid. Using too much wax. This makes the wrap stiff and clumpy. Use a thin, even layer. Overheating the wax. It can burn or lose its antibacterial properties. Not covering the edges properly. Make sure the wax reaches all corners for a full seal. Pro tip, if you don't have an iron or oven, you can use a double boiler to melt the wax, then paint it on with a brush. 3. Applying the wax. Step 1. Spreading the wax evenly. If using the oven, remove the tray once the wax has melted. Use a paintbrush or pastry brush to spread the wax evenly across the fabric. If using the ironing method, lift the parchment paper to check for dry spots. Add more wax if needed. Step 2. Fixing uneven spots. If wax pools in one area, reheat slightly and use a brush to redistribute. If some areas are too dry, sprinkle a little extra wax and reheat. Pro tip, hang your wrap up to check for transparency. It should be lightly coated but not dripping with wax. 4. Curing and drying. Step 1. Letting the wrap set. Once fully coated, carefully lift the wrap off the parchment paper. Hold it up for 15-30 seconds. It will start to harden as it cools. Lay it flat or hang it up for a few minutes to fully dry. Step 2. Testing if it's ready to use. Try molding it over a bowl or wrapping it around a piece of fruit. If it sticks slightly and holds its shape, it's perfect. If it feels too stiff, you may have used too much wax. Try warming it slightly and wiping off the excess. Pro tip, if your wrap feels too sticky, rub it gently with clean hands to remove excess tackiness. Final thoughts before moving on. Congratulations! You've just made your own reusable beeswax wraps. They're eco-friendly, beautiful, and practical. You'll save money by not buying plastic wrap. Plus, they make amazing gifts for friends and family. Part 4. Creative ideas and troubleshooting. Now that you've successfully made your beeswax wraps, let's take things to the next level. Want to make your wraps unique? I'll show you some fun customization ideas. Having trouble with your wraps? I'll go over common issues and how to fix them. Wondering how to care for them? I'll give you the best maintenance tips to keep them lasting longer. 1. How to customize your wraps. Your beeswax wraps should be as beautiful as they are functional. Let's explore some ways to personalize your wraps and make them truly one of a kind, adding natural dyes to fabric. If you want colorful wraps but prefer natural, non-toxic dyes, here are some great options. Turmeric creates a warm yellow or golden hue. Beetroot gives fabric a pink or red tint. Avocado pits creates a soft blush pink. Red cabbage turns fabric shades of blue or purple. Coffee or tea gives fabric a rustic, vintage look. How to dye fabric naturally. Boil your chosen ingredient in a pot of water for 30–60 minutes. Strain out solids, leaving only the dye-infused liquid. Soak your fabric in the dye for at least an hour or longer for deeper color. Rinse with cold water and let it dry before waxing. Pro tip: add a little vinegar or salt to the dye bath to help the color set better, creating themed wrap sets. Why stop at single wraps when you can make an entire set? Holiday themes use Christmas prints, Halloween designs, or Easter colors. Floral patterns perfect for springtime or gifting. Minimalist wraps choose solid colors or neutral tones. Kids themes fun cartoon prints for wrapping school lunches. Farmhouse style rustic linen or gingham patterns for a cozy kitchen vibe. Creative use idea: make a matching set of different sizes and bundle them together as a sustainable gift, adding a personal touch. Personalizing your wraps makes them even more special. Here's how. Stamp or stencil designs onto the fabric before waxing. Use embroidery to stitch initials or small decorative elements. Decorate the edges with pinking shears or hand-stitched trim. Tie them up with twine for a rustic, gift-worthy presentation. Pro tip: if gifting these wraps, include a small instruction card on how to use and clean them. 2. Common issues and fixes. While making beeswax wraps is simple, you might run into some minor issues. Here's how to fix them like a pro. Wax cracking. Problem: your wrap feels dry, stiff, or cracks when folded. Solution: add a little more jojoba oil to increase flexibility. You can also try melting the wax and redistributing it. Wrap not sticky enough? Problem: the wrap isn't clinging to bowls or food. Solution: try adding a small amount of tree resin to improve stickiness. If you don't have tree resin, warm the wrap in your hands. It softens slightly and grips better. Wrap feels too stiff. Problem: your wrap is too rigid and hard to mold around bowls. Solution: adjust the wax to oil ratio. A little extra oil will make it more pliable. Pro tip: beeswax wraps soften naturally over time with regular use. 3. How to maintain and clean your wraps 65–70 minutes. Now that you've created beautiful, functional wraps, let's make sure they last. Proper washing technique. Always wash with cold water. Hot water will melt the wax. Use mild dish soap and a soft sponge or cloth. Let them air dry completely before storing. Do not put them in the microwave or dishwasher. Use harsh scrubbing brushes or strong detergents. Wrap raw meat or fish. Beeswax wraps can't be sanitized with heat. How long do they last and when to re-wax? With proper care, beeswax wraps last 6 months to a year. Signs your wrap needs refreshing: it's losing its stickiness, the wax has started cracking or flaking, it doesn't mold around bowls like before. How to re-wax? Simply repeat the melting process and apply a fresh coat of beeswax. If the fabric is too worn out, it's time to compost and make new ones. Final thoughts before wrapping up. By making and maintaining your own beeswax wraps, you're making a real impact. Saving money on plastic wrap, reducing waste in your home, using a natural, biodegradable product that's safe for your food and the planet. Part 5. Putting them to the test. Now that we've made our beeswax wraps, it's time for the ultimate test. We'll see how well they actually work and how they compare to plastic wrap. Can they properly wrap food? Are they sticky and flexible enough? Do they keep food fresh as well as plastic wrap? Let's put them to the test. 1. Demonstration of uses wrapping a sandwich. First up, let's see how well our beeswax wrap can hold a sandwich together. Test. Wrap a sandwich tightly and check if it stays secure. What to look for: does the wrap mold and seal properly? Is it easy to unwrap and re-wrap? Does the wrap hold its shape without unfolding? Pro tip: warm the wrap with your hands for a few seconds. It makes the beeswax slightly tacky for a better grip. Covering a bowl. Let's try covering a bowl of leftovers. Test. Press the wrap over the top of a bowl and mold it around the edges. What to look for: does it stick well to the bowl? Does it stay in place without slipping? Observation: unlike plastic wrap, beeswax wraps use a natural grip and can be reshaped multiple times. Sealing cut fruit. We all know plastic wrap is commonly used to cover half-cut fruits like apples, avocados, or lemons. Test: wrap half an apple and half an avocado separately. What to look for: does it fully cover the fruit without gaps? Is the wax wrap flexible enough to wrap tightly? Bonus experiment: store the wrapped fruit in the fridge and check later to see how well it stays fresh. 2. How it compares to plastic wrap. Now, let's compare beeswax wraps vs plastic wrap using the same foods and see which performs better. Plastic wrap vs beeswax wrap freshness test. Let's wrap two identical sandwiches, bowls, and fruits, one with plastic wrap and one with our beeswax wrap. Test: store both in the fridge for 24 hours and check for freshness. What to look for: does the food wrapped in beeswax stay as fresh as the one in plastic? Which wrap maintains moisture better? Any signs of drying out or wilting? What you'll likely find: beeswax wraps allow food to breathe slightly, which helps prevent moisture buildup. No soggy sandwiches. Plastic wrap seals tightly, but sometimes traps too much moisture, leading to condensation. Beeswax wraps keep produce fresh for longer without suffocating it. Flexibility and ease of use. Let's compare how easy it is to handle each wrap. Plastic wrap can be frustrating. It clings to itself, rips easily, and often ends up wasted. Beeswax wrap flexible, reusable, and sticks with gentle heat from your hands. Observation: the beeswax wrap is so much easier to work with and doesn't leave behind any waste. Environmental impact comparison: plastic wrap equals single-use, non-recyclable, and adds to landfill waste. Beeswax wrap equals reusable for months and compostable when worn out. Which one do you think is the better choice? I think the answer is pretty clear. Final takeaway: after testing these wraps in real-life scenarios, one thing is obvious. Beeswax wraps are a practical, sustainable alternative that actually works. Conclusion and call to action: 85-90 minutes. Wow, what a journey this has been. We started with a problem, the wastefulness of plastic wrap, and found a solution that is eco-friendly, reusable, and easy to make. Recap of key benefits: cost saving. No more spending money on plastic wrap that you throw away after one use. Beeswax wraps can last for months. Eco-friendly, reduce plastic waste and help protect our planet. Reusable and easy to maintain, a quick wash and they're ready to go again. Customizable, choose your own fabrics and designs to make them uniquely yours. Join the movement. I encourage you to give this a try. Whether you're new to DIY or a sustainability pro, making your own beeswax wraps is a fun and rewarding experience. Now it's your turn. If you try making these wraps, I'd love to hear about it. Drop a comment below and let me know. What fabric designs did you choose? Did you find the process easy? How are you using your wraps in your kitchen? Don't forget, like this video if you found it helpful. It really supports the channel. Subscribe and hit the bell icon for more eco-friendly DIY projects. Share this video with friends and family who are looking to ditch plastic wrap for good. Want more sustainable living tips? Check out my other videos on zero waste swaps, DIY natural products, and more. Find links in the description to related videos and helpful resources. Thanks for watching, and remember, small changes lead to big impacts. See you in the next video.